Fixez.com, bringing you another repair video. Looks like today we're going to be working on an Apple iPhone 4 GSM. Today's video, we're going to show you the steps necessary to remove and replace your display assembly. Before we get started with our disassemble, let's go ahead and review our suggested tools. Small Phillips screwdriver, small flathead screwdriver, begin our entry into the iPhone 4 GSM by first removing our two pentalobe screws, one on either side of the dock port assembly on the bottom of the phone. With our pentalobe screws removed, we can take a grip of the rear portion of our phone and slide it upwards about 1/8 of an inch. This should free the back cover from the iPhone for removal. With the cover removed, right away you'll recognize the battery. Let's use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the single screw that's securing its connector into the motherboard. The battery removed from our iPhone, we can now bring our attention to removing the earpiece speaker. Let's first start by removing the two Phillips screws that are securing the dock port connection into our motherboard. Remove the small cover on that connection. And use our spudger to pry up that connection and peel our ribbon wire back. We can now begin peeling back some of our connections, starting with our rear-facing camera, and we can lift that up and out of the phone. To remove the standoff that's right under all of these connections, use a small flathead screwdriver for removal. We have a Phillips screw that's securing the bottom of our motherboard down by the speaker assembly. Pull up the small coaxial connection for our antenna. And let's use a SIM card removal tool or a paper clip to remove the SIM card tray out of the side of the phone. This should loosen and free up our motherboard. Phone's vibrator motor is secured by two Phillips screws on either side of ribbon wire is incredibly delicate when we're peeling it out of the adhesive, securing it into the phone. We've got 4 Phillips screws securing these buttons into the side of the phone. We can go ahead and remove them. With our securing screws removed and our ribbon cable out of the adhesive, we can now remove this entire assembly. With all of our screws addressed, we now attack the display assembly at one of the corners, trying to create a separation from the frame of the phone. And with that separation created, we can now bring in our plastic opening tool to finish off the separation around the entire perimeter. Let's go ahead and start on the reassemble of our iPhone 4 GSM, starting with our home button. Let's fish the ribbon cable through the back side of the phone and line it up with our locking socket, which is located right behind the dock port assembly. With our home button securely in place, we can bring in our new display. When lining up our display, let's worry about 2 things. Obviously, the tabs that are going to go ahead and secure it to the body of the phone. Let's now reinstall our headphone jack assembly. That also comes along with our volume control buttons for the side of the phone. Let's line up our volume buttons and set them in place. And here's our motherboard set back down into the phone. To secure the motherboard while we work on some of the other components, we do install one of the Phillips screws here. And we can now bring in our rear-facing camera and set it into its housing. And headphone jack. Don't forget to use your flathead screwdriver on that. And install all the Phillips screws to secure it in place accordingly. Reinstall our speaker. Got two Phillips. With our connection plate secured, we can bring the battery back into our iPhone. Don't forget to install the coaxial connection clip under our terminal connection for the battery. And our final two pentalobe screws, one on either side of the dock port to secure it. With our screws securely in place, we can now install our SIM card tray into the side of the phone and power it on to check for full functionality. All of the parts and tools you've seen today in this video are available at www.Fixez.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.